Average performers seek work-life balance. Elite performers seek mental balance. This video is about why work-life balance is the wrong goal and how you can architect the conditions that you believe work-life balance are going to give you right here, right now. So you build a life and a business that you don't need a vacation from. Welcome back. My name is Castillo, founder of Selfmastered, Peak Performance Institute for Founders. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing because my work is to help entrepreneurs just like you scale with peak focus, clarity, discipline, and self-belief. This video is about work-life balance is the wrong goal if you're trying to become an elite performer. And no, I'm not going to tell you that work-life balance is not ambitious enough, that you should be hustling all day. Quite the contrary. My goal is to make you realize that work-life balance really is a means to an end, and seeking the means instead of manufacturing the end is the wrong way of approaching this problem. Because when you say you seek work-life balance, this is a conversation that I have with elite entrepreneurs quite often, especially after their first burnout. They internalize this idea that they have been pushing too hard and they just need to find a balance in which things work out for them. But this is the wrong goal because it implies that you are seeing your work as something negative that you need to escape from, and that life, whatever life is, time with your loved ones, relationships, travel, whatever, is the positive aspect. It implies that there's some yin and yang relationship going in your business, and that is not necessarily true. Because if you're operating under the assumption that your work is something negative, you are subconsciously holding yourself back. The solution is to fuse both together and understand that elite performers manufacture the ideal internal characteristics of their mental state irrespectively of what happens outside. In other words, they're able to feel at peace, calm, collected, and in control, even if they're subject under extreme stress. Even if things are not going as they would like them to be going, they can still show up tranquil, collected, and in control. Or in the words of the famous French philosopher Albert Camus, in the midst of the winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer, and that makes me happy. For it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, there's something more substantial within me, something better, pushing right back. And that makes me happy. Such are the words of Albert Camus, which is a French philosopher discussing what I call mental balance. And what is mental balance? Mental balance is the ability to withstand pressure and discomfort and emotional turmoil without choosing to feel that emotional turmoil and move away from that state of calmness. The state of calmness is called equanimity, and it is a state you reach after you have liberated enough of the triggers that keep you stuck in low-level emotions. In other words, every time you are going about life and you are seeing situations in your business that take you out of your center, marketing campaign bombing, key employee quitting, sales not showing up as much as you'd like them to, all sorts of negative experiences that we have in our day-to-day create these triggers, make us uneasy. Instead of seeking a vacation from those feelings, the goal is to feel those feelings without getting emotionally hijacked by staying calm, collected, and in control, reframing and reshaping our perspective around these things. The way to go about it is to learn to sit at the edge, is to understand that it is precisely when you're pushing against these feelings, when you are operating outside of your comfort zone, when it matters most that you let go of that emotional turmoil. The harder things are, the more intense the pressure, the more outside of what you normally will be comfortable in doing are you operating, the more growth you will have. But at the same time, the more turmoil you will be feeling. Elite performers have this infinite comfort zone that allows them to stay calm, collected, and in control. Over time, every challenge just becomes an opportunity to cultivate an deeper sense of control. And eventually your life becomes a huge adventure where work and play flow seamlessly and you don't need a vacation from. In the words of John D. Rockefeller, I was early taught to work as well as play. My life has been one long happy holiday, full of work and full of play. I dropped the worry on the way, and God was good to me every day. This is the words of one of the most famous billionaires in history, John D. Rockefeller. So the question is, how do you find mental balance and how do you train it? Well, you just need to continue doing what you're doing, continue building that business, continue facing those fears, those insecurities, that friction, that discomfort. And once you are feeling that emotional turmoil, start asking yourself, why are you feeling what you're feeling? Why are you afraid of making that decision? Why are you shameful of that mistake? Why do you feel like not doing what you're doing? Why do you have this urge to self-destruct? All of the reasons are rooted in your subconscious. It is your own mind that is not willing to face that pressure. And the solution is to teach yourself to face that pressure. Because at the other side of that pressure, of that fear, of that shame, of those negative emotions, it stands more growth. It stands the success you seek. Just as the elite athletes at the finals of the Olympics running to the top of the lungs in order to win that medal, they know that at the other side of that exertion awaits glory, and they don't stop until successful. They can cultivate in the moment that state of equanimity that will guarantee that they eventually become victorious. And you should do the same, because if the internal is where it has to be, it will always win over the external. The external, whatever happens outside of your mind, cannot defeat the internal. Your ability to manage your thoughts and your emotions and eventually your behaviors to achieve a state of calmness and equanimity. This is why I say that, work-life balance is the wrong goal. The right goal is mental balance, is their ability to be calm, collected, in control, tranquil, happy with everything that is going around in your life. Because it is very well possible. In fact, it is one of the core defining characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, the ability to be emotionally unattached to everything that happens so they can be more effective and make better decisions. And I read a lot of billionaire biographies and they all mention a variation of this, right? Something called emotional transmutation or emotional management or detachment. Like they all say that the most important thing that they developed over time is the ability to compartmentalize their emotions. And some of them say that meditation, which is the core habit that trains this, is the most important habits. So if you really want to do this and learn how billionaires manage their emotions, book a call with us because we'll teach you a full protocol that works every time in making you emotionally resilient, which is one of the core defining characteristics of winners in business. And in the meantime, check this video here because it dives deeper into another aspect of peak performance that is absolutely fundamental to understand and master if you truly want to win. See you in the next video.